Get another new offensive coordinator as Sean Mannion takes over the Eagles offense. He will be tasked with getting more production from the unit after a disappointing 2025 season. The noise around Jalen Hurts has been loud this offseason, but his teammate Saquon Barkley doesn't feel like it's deserved. Take a listen.
A lot of people that have those opinions can never do what he's able to do. One thing about Jalen Hurts that I'm a big fan about, one, he's a competitor, and he's going to adapt to anything he needs to do. And he's going to do whatever it takes to win football games. He's coming in, he's buying in just like every single body else. And it's important when your quarterback's buying in because that's the leader of your team, and we're all following him. He's buying into the system. He's doing a really good job of being coachable, and he's making plays out here.
Stephen A. has a criticism of Jalen Hurts been fair or foul?
Believe it or not, the answer to this question is both. I think that when the fair part is that just because you're a champion doesn't mean that we get to ignore everything you do subsequently. You still have other seasons to play. We don't get to live in the past. You know, the fact of the matter is you won a Super Bowl championship a couple of years ago. It wasn't last year. Last year we watched 17 games played. We watched you be a shell of what you were at times compared to what we saw particularly in key moments in the season before. And because of that, you know, when people are critical of what they're seeing, it's fair because you're calling it like you see it. Now, when you characterize him and act like he's somebody that's incapable of doing something, when you know better, when you've seen him show up in clutch moments, when you've seen him produce in big moments, when you've seen him win a Super Bowl championship and be a Super Bowl MVP, and you act like he's incapable of greatness, that's where it's foul. Because you know better than that, and you just talking nonsense. That's not him. This brother can play the game of football. Is he the most accurate passer on a consistent basis? No. When you think about the elite passers in the game of football, is he that guy? No. But in key moments where you need something to happen that's going to ultimately produce a W, is Jalen Hurts one of those dudes you should have faith in? You're damn right he is, because he's proven that he could do that. Again, foul when you try to character assassinate him based on the results, but fair when you're compartmentalized and pointing out key moments where he could have done something better than what he actually did.
Kimberly A. Martin joins us now. Kmart, fair or foul when it comes to the Jalen Hurts criticism?
You know, Stephen A. sometimes, he's not here in studio, so he might have forgotten the rules of First Take. The cop-out of both. We don't do that here, but I understand he's not usually here, so he may have forgotten. Yesterday he was hosting, so I understand he went from host to analyst now and all opinionator. So the answer is foul, plain and simple. And I think Stephen A. set it up beautifully from the standpoint of when you ultimately need a W or you need a big play in a big moment, can Jalen Hurts be that guy? Stephen A. said, you're damn right. And so to act as though he's anything but that, Christopher, I think would be foul. And I think what frustrates me most about the conversation surrounding Jalen Hurts is the goalposts always seem to move when it comes to him. I think people get on Lamar and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow for not in those big moments showing up and leading your team to the promised land of Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has done that. In 2 Super Bowls, he outplayed Patrick Mahomes, correct? He's Super Bowl MVP. Do we want an elite passer, or do we want a guy who's got championship pedigree who can get things done? I think that is what always seems to confuse me, because we give him credit for certain things, but we also say, well, he's on a stacked roster. Well, and then we say that Josh Allen doesn't have enough help. But we also criticize Nick Sirianni for, well, what does he do? What did Kevin Petula? We criticize him. So at some point, Jalen Hurts has to get the credit that he deserves.
Yeah, I think the criticism has been fair toward Jalen Hurts if we're judging him based on who his peers are. I think where people get tripped up, Stephen A., is trying to define who Jalen Hurts' peers are. Because it's not Joe Burrow, it's not Josh Allen, and it's not Lamar Jackson. It's not any of those guys. It's not those guys. His peers are Patrick Mahomes. His peers are Eli Manning. His peers are Russell Wilson. His peers are Ben Roethlisberger. Quarterbacks in the 2000s that have been to multiple Super Bowls. Those are his peers. Don't get it twisted. Jalen Hurts is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. You look at his team's success, 11 wins last year, 14 wins the year prior, 11 wins back in 2023, 14 wins in 2022, 2 Super Bowl runs. As a matter of fact, over the last 4 years, nobody, when you include the playoffs, has more wins than Jalen Hurts. He wins 76% of his games. He's 54-17. So when we start trying to define who his peers are, we have to understand his peers aren't other guys that haven't gotten to and won the big game. They're just not. And so we've got to stop with that compare and contrast. But when it comes to what happened last year, it absolutely is fair to characterize it as a failure or below the standard that Jalen Hurts has established for himself.
You just said he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory, and
Correct.
His peers are Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
And Who are the other guys you were listing?
Well, the other guys, Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay, so the only active guy playing right now
Yes.
is Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Right. And yet still, people question whether Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback or all those things. Like, I don't understand how both of those things can be true then.
The thing about it is, here's what it's going to come down to: right or wrong. Let's preface it by saying that, because some people may be wrong and feeling this way, but nevertheless, in an inordinate amount of people have expressed these emotions. They've looked at the personnel that he's had around him. They looked at an A.J. Brown. They looked at a Devontae Smith. They looked at a Saquon Barkley. They looked at an offensive line that was better than most teams in the NFL consistently since he's been behind center. Last year, they battled some injuries. There's no doubt about that. This year, Jeff Stoutland, the long-time offensive line coach, he's gone now. So now you got a new offensive coordinator with a new system that's going to ask you to be lined up behind center, that's going to rely heavily on play action and motion offense. They're saying that these are the adjustments that he's going to have to make. I'm looking at it and saying, once again, he has to make adjustments to new personnel, because there's always somebody new with the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of their offensive coordinators and all of this other stuff. But in the same breath, most people are looking at personnel. They're looking at the fact that you go out there, you still got Devontae Smith, who you're elevating. You got Mekhi Lemon now. You got the Davion Wicks. You got him coming on board. You got this cat, Hollywood Brown. He's there now. You got all of these things. They ain't A.J. Brown, but you can spread the offense a little bit more. Lots is going to be asked to Smith and Saquon Barkley, but in the end, you're still looking at him. And you're going to say to yourself, okay, what you going to do? We see what the Dallas Cowboys have with their receivers. You see what they have with Dak Prescott. And you're looking at it and you're saying, they're coming. What are you going to be able to do? And people are going to judge them accordingly. They're just going to do that.
But Stephen, here's the thing that bothers me when we have these kinds of conversations. Okay. We get into the discussion about Jalen Hurts and all of the talent that he has around him. But show me good quarterbacks that don't have talent.
Hello, that means you have a good GM. That's the point. What you should be doing.
Has Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who combined for 25 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, but you two don't get to say that. You two don't get to say that, and here's why. There have been plenty of times. Your level of knowledge is supremely knowledgeable as you are about the game of football. Your years of covering the sport is exceptionally well as you have. Y'all have religiously pointed to on many, many occasions where a quarterback deserves a lot of kudos because the level of talent they have around them isn't comparable to what some other quarterbacks may have. I'm just saying it from that perspective. You're going to look at the talent around it and you're comparing it to what other quarterbacks may or may not have. We bring that up with Lamar Jackson a lot of times, especially before Derrick Henry arrived. We said, okay, what does he have around him? You're putting too much on his shoulders because other people have better weapons. Well, Steve, you did acknowledge that.
I can acknowledge that, Steve. Right. But here's the thing when it comes to Jalen Hurts. I think people fixate on the things that he doesn't do so well, which is throwing the ball over the middle of the field, in between the numbers, on those crossers. And we've seen now that the NFL is a copycat league, and the trend is the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan offense, when you're throwing to those voids in the zone, in the middle of the field, and allowing for explosive plays from catch and run opportunities. That is not something that Jalen Hurts has majored in the National Football League. And quite frankly, he struggled throughout the course of his career when it comes to high-level football. We'll see how that changes with Sean Mannion. But here's the thing, Stephen A., it's all about what you can do. Don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. And Jalen Hurts is one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. He's one of the most dynamic runners at the quarterback position, and the guy just wins. So even though he has a deficiency that he can't do something at as high a level as some of the other elite quarterbacks in the National Football League, you know the thing that he does do? He wins. And he deserves all of the credit for that. Now, last year, he didn't do that at the level that we're accustomed to seeing. And the offense, quite frankly, the offense, quite frankly, was erratic, right? You had whole halves of football where they didn't have any yards.
That's fair. That's fair, y'all. But damn, hold on. Because I want Jalen. It's somewhere along the way he's gonna see this. The Eagles gonna see. I want them to understand this. Anybody that's saying that the brother can't play don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they're just hating. We get that part. But there's nothing wrong when you win. And then all of a sudden you don't win for somebody to dissect. Okay, why?
That's not
the level of success. The level of success, Kimberly, that you had 2 years ago. There's nothing wrong with asking, how come that didn't happen last year? That's all.
But
there's nothing wrong with that.
Last year, doubled in it.
Jalen Hurts continues to generate intense debate because his career challenges many traditional standards used to evaluate quarterbacks. This discussion effectively explores the tension between his statistical profile and his undeniable record of leading winning teams, making for a balanced conversation rather than a simplistic argument. One of the strongest themes throughout the segment is the distinction between constructive criticism and unfair narratives. The analysts agree that Hurts can be criticized for aspects of his game or for a disappointing offensive season, but they also argue that dismissing his talent ignores years of success, clutch performances, and championship-level leadership. The panel also offers an insightful comparison between Hurts and other elite quarterbacks. While players like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are often judged differently, the conversation questions whether Hurts receives the same level of respect despite already accomplishing what many of his peers are still chasing: a Super Bowl championship and consistent postseason success. Another highlight is the discussion about Philadelphia's evolving offense. With another new coordinator and changes in the offensive system, the analysts recognize that Hurts will once again have to adjust. That context adds depth to the debate by showing that quarterback performance is influenced by coaching, scheme, and supporting talent as much as individual ability.